So you own a building business, and there would be at some stage, if it's not constantly struggling to manage the cash flow, challenged in the financial area. And there is a bunch of contributing reasons, but I think that there's an overarching reason as to why that happens in pretty much all small businesses. At Black Belt, Builders Business Black Belt, we always have a focus on how you think, and we prioritize the mindset over systems, over tools and techniques and things like that. And not to say that we don't have tools and techniques and systems. They are very, very important. But unless they're built on a foundation of a solid philosophy, they tend to fall to pieces. They don't tend to last. And I was listening to an audio book by Stephen Bartlett of recent times, and we talked about this in Black Belt just today in our Wednesday workshop that we have every week. And Stephen Bartlett, the audio book is Diary of a CEO. He has a podcast, Diary of a CEO. It's pretty amazing stuff. It's very gets some incredible guests on the podcast. It's a great listen. But at the beginning of the book, The Diary of a CEO, he talks about the concept of 5 buckets and the importance of filling the 5 buckets to create success that is resilient, success that can be long-term, rather than the way that many, let's say, influencers and people that are building businesses based on following and likes and subscribers and all of that sort of stuff, there is a big focus on the reputation and the ego, feeding the ego, things like that. So I just want to unpack my understanding of what Stephen Bartlett was talking about with these 5 buckets. And the first bucket is, he talks about the filling the bucket with what you know. So it's learning, it's knowledge, having a priority on getting good quality knowledge and filling your mind with great information and great philosophies and learning how to manage yourself significantly more effectively from the neck up, managing your thoughts, managing your emotions, but overall gaining knowledge. And when you gain knowledge and then you put knowledge into practice, you then create a skill. So this second bucket is your skills, and that's what you can do. So the first bucket is knowledge. The second bucket is skill. So the first bucket is getting information, then putting that information into practice to build your skills. And that's where the big first challenge comes up, because getting knowledge it feels like it's giving you an advantage. But I don't know who the dude was who said that knowledge is power, because I don't agree with that at all. Applied knowledge is power. So you get that knowledge and you put it into practice and you develop a skill. And the thing is, when you're developing a skill, in the beginning, do you mostly get it right or do you mostly get it wrong? The answer is you quite often get it wrong until you start to refine your ability to apply that knowledge, and then it becomes a skill. Then when you become skilled, when you become, let's say you're Tommy Emmanuel. Tommy Emmanuel in my view, has always been a great guitarist. I used to watch him back in the 80s, the early 80s, playing with his brother in a band called Gold Rush in Sydney. And he was an amazing guitarist then. He was actually the drummer in Gold Rush. He was an incredible drummer. And in the second bracket, him and his brother, Phil, would come out and they'd both play guitars. So Tommy has always been an amazing guitarist. He had an incredible skill. And he continued to refine that skill, and then he became known for it. So the third bucket is who you know. It could be who's taking notice, who is aware of you, but it's connections. That's the third bucket. So first bucket, knowledge. Apply that knowledge, and then when you get very good at something, you get known. The word spreads. When the word spreads, that's when you often get rewarded. So that could be the money. That could be compensation. And that fourth bucket is what you have. So it's the cars, it's the houses, it's the reward. It could be the money, but the more people who know about you, and they know of you because because of your skill, that contributes to your ability to earn money. And then the fourth bucket is what others think. And that's your reputation. And so the point that Stephen Bartlett, I believe, is making with this is what is happening far too often these days in business is people are so focused on bucket 4 and bucket 5, particularly bucket 4. All of their decisions are focused on making money. What is the activity that causes me to make money? But the trouble with that is if every day all of your moments are focused on the activities that all they do is make you money, and you're not working on your knowledge, your wisdom, when things change, you aren't necessarily in the best position to roll with those changes. And so as demand changes, as your client's expectations changes, as the time rolls on, things change. Like you can't run a building business today the same way as you ran a building business in 1950. Things have changed. And unless you challenge yourself to continue to increase your knowledge and then implement that knowledge so it becomes a skill and be known for that, and then you're remunerated based on the number of people, if you like, that are aware of you and want to use your skills. That's where you get compensation for it. You get the reward for it. But too many people are focused on, and I see a number of builders focused on bucket 4. So all their decisions are based on money, but also on their reputation. How do we look? What sort of cars do we drive? How do we appear on social media? And so their decisions and their choices are focused around bucket 4 and bucket 5, and they prioritize that over bucket 1, which is learning, gaining knowledge, bucket 2, implementing that knowledge so it becomes a skill. Bucket 3 happens as a result of your commitment to put time into bucket 1 and 2. In fact, when this is done properly, the last 3 buckets, buckets 3, 4, and 5, happen as a consequence, as the effort and commitment, the level of effort and commitment that you choose to put into buckets 1 and 2. And so I was talking to our guys today, and in black belt we have what's called a Monday momentum call, and we have a conversation with someone who's doing something really well and share it with the rest of the group, or we plan what's happening for the month in some of them, and on Wednesdays we do a Wednesday workshop, and that was today, where we did the 5 buckets plus another concept called the fee concept. And then on Fridays, we get together and we unpack our members' gains and learnings for the week. And the idea of that is humans are notoriously awful, particularly if they're reasonably entrepreneurial. They will do incredible things and then they will reward themselves with more work. It's absolutely critical to have a mechanism where you get to focus on a very regular basis the progress you're making, the gains that you're making. It's not win-lose. It's not the wins that you have. It's the gains that you're making that are the important thing to focus on. And then the learnings, that's not a lesson. A lesson is information, bucket 1, and putting it into practice. So your skill is different or your system or process is different. That's a learning, and that's different to a lesson. And so on Fridays, we get together and we do that. And so the point I was making today is as a builder, the majority of builders are kind of wired to give priority to the thing that gives them that instant reward, meaning I need to get this job finished. I need to be on site. I need to be managing the guys. I need to be talking to the clients, because over the years, you've hypnotized yourself into thinking that that is the activity that pays the bills. And I agree, it is the activity that pays the bills. But if all of your effort goes into that activity all day, every day, and none of it is going into learning more things, better things, and implementing that knowledge so it becomes a skill, a better skill, an improved skill, you end up going backwards. You will get passed over. And so the lesson today was all about making sure that you prioritize activities that are filling buckets 1 and buckets 2 over and above everything else. And that doesn't mean that you don't do anything else. In our world, in black belt, we talk about priority all of the time. And what I mean by priority is do it first. That's all it means. It's like the surfers when they're on a wave. If you've got priority, you get to take that wave first. And so when you know of something, and generally activities where you're gaining knowledge and using that knowledge to implement and refine a skill, there's zero urgency. The emotion of urgent is not involved on those activities or in those activities. But it seems to be a great sense of urgency. I've got to get to site. I've got to get this job finished. I've got to get this quote in. There's urgency attached to it. But there's no urgency attached to the activities in bucket 1 and bucket 2. So it makes sense as to why bucket 4 always gets the nod. But I guess after watching this video, you don't have an excuse anymore. If this makes sense, you don't have an excuse anymore. You need to begin to prioritize activity that is learning over the doing, like the day-to-day working in the business stuff. So the message in this video is prioritize some time every day to learn and learn knowledge, but also implement that knowledge and learn how to refine and improve your skills. Fill buckets 1 and 2. That will by default increase bucket 3. That it fills bucket 4, which fills bucket 5. Don't fall into the trap of getting sucked into not worrying about buckets 1 or 2 and focusing all your attention on buckets 4 and 5. It's a recipe for disaster. I'd love to know your thoughts on this, any insights you've got from the video. Jump in the comment section. Tell me whether you agree. Tell me whether you disagree. Love to get into a discussion about it. This is all about freedom. And one of the things that we are doing a lot of now in Black Belt is helping our members figure out in the areas they want to improve is to, step 1, calm the chaos. Step 2, create systems. Step 3, be able to scale with freedom, meaning that you can improve things. Scaling isn't necessarily getting bigger. It's just improving things that you're already doing, and at the same time reducing the time you are required to be able to produce those results. And so it's calm the chaos, systemize, scale with freedom. And because we've created this process, we've also created a scorecard. So there's a link somewhere around this video. It's called the Builders Freedom Readiness Scorecard. So if you click on that link, it'll take you 2 minutes to find out how ready you are and how well you're doing with your business to give yourself that freedom, both the financial freedom and the time freedom, even the emotional freedom. Like if you suffer from stress and pressure constantly, being able to get freedom from that would be pretty powerful. So I hope this video got you thinking. I'd love to hear your comments. I'm available to reach out, have a chat, but go do the Builders Freedom Readiness Scorecard. Love to hear of your results. Talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.